should be like, you can just be outside of the matrix. I didn't come to Earth to run from the system. I came to Earth to change the system from the inside out. So in order to change a system from the inside out, instead of fighting it from an antagonist point of view, I had to be able to understand the matrix and understand how it operates and how this playing field operates within this Earth planetary experience. So for me, it's always been back and forth. It's always been like, okay, I'll play the game, but I'm also playing the game to understand the mechanics of the game so that I can come out, go back into the spirit world, look at all the different information that I can bring in to disrupt that game, and then open up space for more people to recognize their power and put the power back in their hands. So I would consider myself a loving disruptor.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the Energy Motto. Today we're presenting to you a 6th generation shaman, evolutionary innovator, and a woman's empowerment leader. Shaman Durek is here to bring forth the ancient wisdom of our elders in order to heal and bring happiness into our modern society. His focus is educating people on how to make shamanism a lifestyle choice for evolutionary adaptation. Shaman Durek's no BS approach to spirituality has attracted a diverse range of public figures such as Nina Dobrev, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Dave Asprey, the founder of Bulletproof Coffee. He's the first ever spirit shaman featured in People's Magazine, and his work has been widely and globally recognized by outlets such as Vanity Fair, Good Morning America, and New York Times. In his recent bestseller, Spirit Hacking, Shaman Durek reveals the wisdom and shamanic principles to tap into our personal power and light up the world. Or shall we say, reconnect with our energy. In this conversation, where Shaman Durek was recording in the Hamptons after traveling with his girlfriend, the Princess of Norway, and their royal family, we cover everything from what can be extracted from all religions, evolving through love over fear, the most effective spirit hacks to get rid of negative energy, the difference between ego and creation, and how to unleash our inner child. So before moving on, we invite you to subscribe to our channel to elevate your mindset and learn from the world's leading game changers. Without further ado, we bring you a transformational conversation with the man deemed Hollywood's spiritual guide and a visionary who is restructuring paradigms on planet Earth, Shaman Durek. Amazing. Okay, Shaman Durek, welcome, brother, to the podcast. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's amazing to have you, brother. Yes, 100%. Well, where do we start? Because a 6th generation shaman, this has been an extraordinary ride, just getting to know your story, what you've been through, the hardships, literally everything from, abuse, even death in a way. We'll get to that later. But I wanted to ask you first and foremost, how did you come across shamanism? Because personally, before I got to know you, I thought shamanism was, the people in the Amazons that have been doing these plant medicines and take people on journeys. But then you opened me up to a whole different realm of that and learning about your story. So maybe we can open up with getting to know what your shamanism is and what does it mean to you?
So shamanism is the same across the board. It doesn't matter if you're an earth shaman or a fire shaman or water shaman and air shaman or spirit shaman, such as myself. Shamanism lives and adapts in all cultures, from, Peruvian culture, Mexican culture, Native American, Sami, African culture, Eskimo culture, Polynesian culture. I mean, the list goes on, right? So the basis of shamanism, when people think about shamanism, they understand shamanism based upon that which the Western world has actually involved themselves in to find out. And most of what the Western world has found out is about plant medicines like ayahuasca, iboga, peyote, these types of things, and mostly more so ayahuasca than ibogaine. So the thing is that when people refer to shamans, they think, oh, Amazon, living in nature, dressed with no clothes on, and, wearing a kind of like a leaf skirt and, this kind of, image. And that we're sitting there smoking something, squatting down and laying out leaves on the floor and giving you some plant medicine and then doing a ceremony with smoke, and shaking things around you. And yes, that is a form of shamanism, but that isn't shamanism. That's being an ayahuascadero. An ayahuascadero, is literally a person who's trained and understands the spirit, the medicine, and the dietas that one would need to go into to be able to make their body ready to be able to take in certain medicines from nature and be able to build a relationship with it. But that's not shamanism. Shamanism means that you are in relationship to. So the basis of all shamanism comes from your relationship. So your relationship to food, your relationship to your body, your relationship to the air, to the sun, to the moon, to the ocean, to the river, to the mountains, to the lakes, relationship to your cells, relationship to your community, relationship to your ancestors, relationship to everything. So then depending upon the culture, they have certain ceremonies and rituals and practices and medicines and attunements and energies that they operate from based on their cultural understanding and their heritage of that culture and the region and where they're located. As according to, for instance, a shaman in Peru versus a shaman in South Africa versus a shaman who's in the Mende tribe versus a shaman who is a Sami living in the mountains of Norway, right? So again, it varies. For me, my tradition comes from Africa, comes from Ghana and Nigeria, and my family comes from the Yoruban culture. So the shamanism practice is I'm a spirit shaman. So spirit shamanism is that we are taught to understand spirits and to catalog all spirits since we're children. So whenever like people were kids and they get scared that there's a monster under their bed or in their closet, I'm the one getting out of the bed and going, who are you? What are you? Where did you come from? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? And I catalog it.
So you can physically see them, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And some spirits, you can see, some you can hear, some you can feel. It depends what type of spirit you're dealing with and how open you are to the receptivity of that spirit in its connection to your environment versus its own environment, right? So we all are our body is made up of living spirits. It's made up of the elemental spirits, and your body's made up of microorganisms and fungi that are actually what creates your fingers and your cells and the cell division and everything that happens in your body. Your body is actually a living spirit. It's an organic spirit, sorry. And that being said, the way that we are conducted in life is that you're not taught about how your physiology, how your body's operating, how your brain is operating, how your fingers are operating, why everything is the way it is, and how it connects to nature, how it connects to words, how it connects to community, how it connects to food, how it connects to music, all of these things, because you're in a system that we live on what we call, in shamanism, we call a slave planet. So a slave planet is a planet that has been overseen by a structure that has rules and punishments. So the rules and punishments are, you go as a kid, you immediately go into school as a kid, you have your kindergarten. But the reason why they throw you in that institution is not because you need to be in that institution in order to be a functional human being. It's so that they can start monitoring your behaviors and start making sure your behaviors and your patterns of behavior match the system they put in place. So that way they can say, okay, so you're doing this, you're following the rules. Okay, good, you're great. Okay, now you're getting older. Now do this. Now take this test. We made up the test. The test has nothing to do with anything other than what we made up. Yeah. And then you take the test and then you're like, okay, I failed the test, but did you really fail the test, or did you fail their test? Because it's not applicable to who you are as a human being. Again, weeding out all of the in-between, such as you're not taught in school emotional intelligence. You're not taught emotional intelligence when you're a little kid. So you are affected by other people's emotions. You're affected by other people's judgments. You're affected by other people's aggressions. You're affected by other people's behaviors, because you don't have the emotional intelligence to know how to handle these emotional issues that are taking place, which is what they want, because they need you to start practicing in the idea of not having control. So when you don't have control, and the control that you have is based on a system that they tell you gives you control, such as money or power, or, you know, creating something that people can say, oh my God, you're so amazing, look at what you did. They want you to buy into these accolades as a form of control. So for me and my family, I come as a spirit shaman. In my heritage of my family that goes way, way, way back, I was chosen at age 5 because I had the gifts and the abilities to communicate to spirit and show the signs that are necessary in our family. And then I started training when I was 10, but because my grandfather walked away from shamanism and became Catholic and then became Seventh-day Adventist, I had to train in shamanism also while training in religion and understanding religion, studying the Bible, studying the text in the Bible, breaking down the Bible, sitting in Bible school, and when I had the time to study shamanism with my family. And so it was kind of like this split between, and at one point it was very challenging for me, I admit, because on one end, shamanism teaches you that the way you understand God and creation is by what God created. And so because you see what God created, you know that God could never judge or condemn or do anything other than just create the most beautiful, amazing experiences. Because if you look at the ocean, you look at the sky, you feel the wind, you see the trees, you see your eyes and your lips, your nose and your eyes and, you know, and her nose and her lips, you go, wow, God's an amazing artist. Like, this is amazing. Like there's so much yumminess and so much sexiness and so much beauty in the world, right? And so you're just like, wow. So anything like, so these artists in the world, such as Salvador Dali and Rembrandt and Basquiat and all of the amazing artists that have come, always focus their art on what these creations are. So if they're so way out there in their thinking, you know, then why would we assume that the creator that made those things that they're in marvel about would not be far out there as well, as far as open and free and so forth. So there was that understanding in what we learned in shamanism. And what we learn in shamanism is that creation needs to see itself to give itself instruction to create. So if that's the case, then we've created God. Not that God is this thing outside of us that's existing. We actually are the creators of God. So if we are the creators of God, now here we go over to the religious side, and then you have two situations. I love the Bible, and I love the stories and the book of Acts, and I love these wonderful stories, Deuteronomy, and all these different things. But then there's a discrepancy. And the discrepancy that was for me as a kid was, here you have in the Old Testament, this Towers of Babel, where we come together to build a tower, which I'm looking at it more metaphorically than just like literally. Yeah. We've come to build a tower, which means we come to lift our consciousness. And then there's some being that says, look at them wanting to be as us. Let us go down there and confuse their language and send them scattering amongst the earth. Now, why, if we are coming together as a community, raising our consciousness, which is a representation of the tower, not the literal building of bricks of a tower, why would something want to come and scramble our ability to understand each other in our communication? And so there's that in the Old Testament. And then you have the New Testament, where Jesus is walking around telling everyone to come together. Come together. It doesn't matter if you're Greek, if you're Spanish, if you're this, if you're that. Come together. We're all brothers and sisters. We all need to love each other. It's all about love. It's all about the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven, love, the kingdom of heaven. And it doesn't say anything about division. It doesn't say anything about hating anyone. It's all about love, 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 love. Then you go to the Old Testament and it's like division, 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 division. You're bad, you're wrong, you're a sinner. Don't do this, don't do that. And so it was very contradicting. And so for me as a shaman, training in shamanism, studying religion, and wanting to understand if human beings believe this idea that the value of who they are does not matter unless they follow these rules or they're going to go to hell, then in shaman, we're taught that anything that you see of yourself reflected onto you is the same way you'll treat yourself. So if you see God as scary, then you'll see yourself as scary because you come from God. So therefore, you will create a destructor code in your deep subconscious mind and spend most of your life looking for things wrong with yourself and looking for things wrong with others and looking for ways to create more suffering and more pain. And you'll be doing it unconsciously because you won't realize that you're doing it because you're stuck in what we call a loop. And that loop is, as long as you believe that you could be tossed aside by something that you do, you will choose to toss yourself aside. So to avoid it, it's the same way if you went to a friend's party and your dinner and they had a dinner set for 10 o'clock and that friend shows up at, let's say, 12 o'clock and they show up. The first thing your friend says, "Oh, I feel so guilty. I'm so sorry that I didn't make it for the 10 o'clock. You know good and well they don't feel guilty at all. In fact, they're using guilt as a way to say, I'm punishing myself so you don't have to punish me. I've already punished myself. But in truth, when people are guilty of anything, it's not that they're guilty, it's they're guilty for being honest. So when people are like, "Oh, I feel so guilty that I didn't see your mom." No, you didn't. If you wanted to see your mom, you would go see your mom. You're only saying that because you're punishing yourself for being truthful and honest to your true ideas and your true agenda that you wanted, your authentic agenda that you wanted. Instead of just saying, "You know what, I didn't come to your dinner at 10 o'clock because I didn't want to come to your dinner at 10 o'clock. And here I am now. So can I come in?" So again, we have to understand that the system is built upon this understanding. And so people grow up with family structures that follow that same type of understanding, which is children don't speak unless they're spoken to. Children have to do what we say they have to do. If a child tells their parents, you're acting out of character, your behaviors are less than pleasing, and you're just causing so much stress and drama in my life with your behavior, we'll get grounded, we'll get spanked, we'll get in trouble, we'll be probably thrown out on the street. And that's because you don't live in a logical world. So in shamanism, what the challenge for me was, how do I see shamanism that teaches us this, and then religion that's doing this? And so for me, I felt I needed to understand to martyr those things. So I went full on into Christianity, became an evangelist, wanted to understand a little bit more about what it felt to persecute myself and live under these very strict ways of not sinning against God. And I can tell you, it's impossible. And, and then I did that for a while. And then I was like, you know what, let me understand more people's cultures. Let me go into studying Hinduism and go under the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and really become into this, get into the songs and stand on the streets and pass out the books and sing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rama Rama. Okay, I did that. I see what that's about. Now let me move to Israel and move with the religious family and study the Torah and the Talmud and go to synagogue and see what that feels like. So I like to martyr a lot of things because as a shaman, I need to understand what makes people tick. I need to understand why people believe what they believe. I always consider myself to be a very high-powered juicer. that goes and takes all the information and juices it and gets rid of all the pulp and gives you the best of the best of the best juice, right? And so I went and studied all these things. I studied the Quran, I studied the Talmud, I learned to speak Hebrew, I learned to speak Turkish. I went to all these different experiences. I lived in Italy. I got involved in seeing what Catholicism was about, you know, and going and doing my confessions and really wanting to go and light the candles and sit down at the pyre, whatever you want to call it. I can't remember the name. And, you know, whatever that's called, where you kneel down. And I would just sit there and be in prayer and listen to, you know, go to the Holy Communions and do all this stuff and really feel it. And what I found in that is that this world is manipulative, and that this world manipulates you to make you believe that you have no value unless you create something, own something, you have a certain amount of money, a certain amount of popularity. And so you don't see the antiquation of your value unless you see it through someone else's response to you or someone else's eyes or viewpoint of you. And that's a very scary place when you think about it, because you think, okay, you're going to go to college, you're going to do all these things. Are you promised a job? No. Do you have responsibilities that you are going into? Okay, I'm going to take this elective, but sometimes in college, not everything is laid out to support you with where we are in our global transformation on our planet. Because I mean, as it is, we can't keep living on this conveyor belt that the Matrix has built. Now, what is the Matrix? The Matrix is this aspect of humanity that has created these laws and systems, and even created Santa Claus to match God's personality. If you're good, you get rewarded. If you're bad, you get a lump of coal. You know, it's the reason why I delve deeper into my shamanism after walking away from all those experiences, and then went back into my training to become who I am today.
It's so interesting when you say that you got into all these different religions and really got to the root of what people believed in each of them. And that makes me think how we interpret reality very differently as individuals. And each religion has its own set of beliefs, rules. And at the end of the day, what you said, it's all a program. And we're, like most of us, we're not really taught to have discernment in our own truth. So we're programmed since we're babies to have this set of beliefs. We grow up and we think, like, to be successful, we have to do this, whatever it may be. It's different for everyone. And then we get to an older age, and then we're just constantly programmed to live a life of someone else. And of someone else means that that person doesn't even know what their own truth is, because they've been living a program. So that's so interesting, because especially at this age, we need to become aware of what our truth is and how to honor ourselves in each moment. And what you said about, again, each religion, it puts things in perspective, because what's a sin to one religion, it's not for another. What's a god for one, it's different for another. And it's all different. They're all different truths that our human mind creates. So I was thinking this the other day. We create realities. It becomes a reality when we give it power, when we realize that that's the thing. So it's just crazy, like this whole human experience, and being able to switch between realities with observance and not getting really attached to a specific reality, but rather honoring ourselves. And that's a really powerful tool and idea to grasp into. And I want to know, if you ever felt that you were being programmed, or felt like you were inside that matrix, and how did you pull yourself out? Because you were able to explore other religions, but when was the moment that you said, okay, no, I'm gonna live my truth, and I'm not gonna let this inform me into what it wants me to be?
I've always been the type of person who would go in and out of the matrix. And I think people should. I don't think it should be like you can just be outside of the matrix. I didn't come to Earth to run from the system. I came to Earth to change the system from the inside out. So in order to change a system from the inside out, instead of fighting it from an antagonist point of view, I had to be able to understand the matrix and understand how it operates and how this playing field operates within this Earth planetary experience. So for me, it's always been back and forth. It's always been like, okay, I'll play the game, but I'm also playing the game to understand the mechanics of the game so that I can come out, go back into the spirit world, look at all the different information that I can bring in to disrupt that game, and then open up space for more people to recognize their power and put the power back in their hands. So I would consider myself a loving disruptor, because I'm not here to people please people. I'm here to people push, but I push from the inside, not from the outside. So what it does is, what I do is I basically say, okay, here you are. You've been programmed by this system. I'm going to show you a demonstration of what is available to you. I don't have to force it on you. Your part of your being that already knows the truth, is the truth, and always will be the truth, will grasp it and understand it and change it from the inside out. So therefore, it becomes a part of your epiphany, your awakening, your ability to transform. That will come from a natural progression of transformation, versus it being something that's forced upon you the way religion is forced upon you. They don't transform you from the inside out. They force indoctrinations on you that have fear-based results. If you don't do this, this will happen. If you don't do that, that will happen. And so that's not a way to build people into thriving individuals. That's a way to keep them codependent. And when you continue to utilize codependency as a way of holding power over people, it creates chaos. It creates dependency. It creates war. It creates separation. It creates people to be at odds with one another, because the reason why is because they want to be righteous, and they want to be prideful about what they believe, that they're willing to argue, to fight, to kill, to whatever it is, so they can feel powerful, because they're so afraid of the unknown. They feel like, if I can just hold on to this little piece and fight for it, then I'm safe from going into the unknown and then feeling I have no power, when in fact, the whole system is laughing, because the system knows that it took your power the moment you reacted and the moment you went into this need to fight your brothers and sisters, instead of giving love and wisdom and education to them in a way that can help them to thrive and be adaptable and be able to be a planetary citizen on the planet Earth that is able to create sustainability. So when we understand the sustainability qualities of humanity, we are able to realize that can only come when we stop reacting, stop being codependent, start coming into our own resource of, I do what I do, not because I have to, but because I choose to, because it makes me happy. And so therefore, then that gets supported by the universe, because you're actually breaking and creating new paradigms. So you become an interrupter into the field of consciousness that has been doing the same thing. I call it the same, lame, right? It's the same thing. It's the idea that you choose to intellectually choose something that makes you feel bad about yourself in order for you to evolve, versus you choose something that makes you feel good about yourself in order to evolve. So you can evolve through love, or you can evolve through fear. And suffering. So again, it's a choice of each individual. And right now, where we are in our trajectory and where we are in our planetary movements, meaning our evolution, this is what spirit is. This is what's showing up right now. There are people who are so afraid of change. They're holding on so much for their very life, for the very little cloth they can hold on to before it slips away from them. So they're going into depression and suicide and mental decline and high levels of inflammation, which leads to all types of health issues, to you name it, to becoming angry and rageful and attacking and projecting, because they're so afraid to lose their security. And then there are people who are like, life changes and I'm going to be like a surfer. I'm going to learn to be able to connect to the essence of the movements of the waves of this planet and the universe. And I'm going to adapt myself to anything that is showing up and still maintain happiness, joy, laughter, freedom, pleasure, ecstasy, bliss, and connection and community, while everyone else is choosing to act as if the whole world is coming to an end. Yeah. So again, it's a choice.
Yeah. I want to talk about what you've called the blackout. And I know you had a little 4-minute experience that felt much longer than that in your life. And I wanted to know, because when you went through this experience and you eventually, as you called it, you died and you passed to the other side, and the spirits came and they guided you and they showed you the beauty of what is beyond this 3D, third-dimensional life. And you were full of questions. You were asking, why does humanity suffer so much? And the answer you received was malfunction in thinking. I'm so curious to know, like, what does that mean in the state of where we are right now as humanity, and how does that relate to the blackout that we're living?
So if we were to understand creation as a creator that lives inside of you, and every time you open your mouth and think, it's creating everything you think and feel. And that your ego's job is to connect you with all the pieces and the places and the people to make it so that your reality is exactly as you want to see it. So, but in our world, we like to say, oh, kill the ego, the ego's this, the ego's that. No, the ego is your personal assistant. It basically supervises all of your ideas and beliefs and brings them into an understanding of truth for you. So let's say someone says, life is difficult. The ego goes, okay, great. I will make sure more difficulty comes your way. Anything else? A woman says, men are hard to come by. Great. I'll make sure you don't see any of them. Anything else? I don't know if I'm going to make it. Great. I'll make sure you stay in limbo until you decide you can. Anything else? And so that's all the ego does. Now, creation, what creation does is creation creates exactly what you say creation can create. So the reason why we are, how do we say, to answer to your question, going through what we're going through, when I went to the other side, when I passed away, the message that I got was the reason why people are suffering and going through all these things is malfunction in thinking. Malfunction in thinking means that you think against yourself. You speak against yourself. You speak against other people incorrectly. You focus on issues and problems incorrectly. You look at everything as the cup being empty instead of full. So when someone talks, they'll say things like this. Yeah, I don't know what's going on right there. I don't know what's going on. Blind. No power, you're not a creator, you know nothing. You just basically spoke a spell over yourself just by opening your mouth. I don't know what's going on. It just seems like things aren't changing the way I want them to be. Great, now you're creating that. And I just feel like it's so hard and I want to make money, but it doesn't seem like it's coming in. Boom, money just got taken away. And I feel like, I could really I want to make change, but I just don't know what to do. Great. You just erased your opportunity to know how to make change. Mm-hmm. Every time people open their mouth, it's like they're casting the worst curse over themselves. And they don't realize that the creator and your ego will make sure that whatever you say, you get exactly what you say. And so the key is to be able to speak as a creator in what we call and rightful intention. It's the ability to understand that you're not malfunction in your thinking. You are thinking on the highest level for yourself. So instead of saying a sentence like, I don't know, my day wasn't so great today, period. You never put a period with a negative in front of it. So you would say, today, I don't know, today wasn't a great day. Keep the sentence going. However, new energies are showing up for me right now. And within the next 5 minutes, I'm going to get a burst of new energy that's going to give me an epiphany, that's going to open me up to seeing things bigger and brighter than I've ever seen before. Period. Now, you've just wrote a whole nother thing. So the ego goes, got it. Working on that right now. Got it. Creator's like, done. Let's make that happen. Done. Okay, what else? And so the way I look at the world is that you got a lot of dysfunctional wizards running around, zapping themselves, zapping each other, and zapping the planet, that the planet had enough. The tension of discord and separation has become so strong that we needed to go through coronavirus to get back to the basics, to understand what's important. You know how many times I go to give people hugs and they reject my hugs? My hugs. I love to hug. I give the most soulful, loving, sensual, playful hug, and people will reject the hug. And people will reject the connection of just sitting with another person and having just a normal conversation, because they're so busy hustling and wanting to do all these things so they can, quote unquote, make money in a system that will take their money by making them buy things they don't really need. Again, now you have Corona. Now people are yearning for that hug. I wish I had that Shaman Durek hug. I wish I could sit with a friend right now and just have a lovely conversation. I wish that, when toilet paper becomes the new bling, that means there's some changes taking place. Yeah. Because no one would think that toilet paper is the new bling, right? And I remember when everything started, everyone was freaking out that they didn't have toilet paper. And everyone was like, I'll trade you this. I'll give you this. Can I get a roll of toilet paper? People were trading their clothes, their shoes, jewelry, whatever. Toilet paper, the value of toilet paper went up so high because people didn't have access to it. The very simple things in life that you think would be there for you is not your security. And that's the reason why people are going through what they're going through. So when I saw this in a vision, I had told my book agent and my publisher, I need to create a book called 2020, Are You Ready? And I want it to be all black, and it'd be called The Blackout 2020, Are You Ready? And they go, oh no one's gonna buy that book. What kind of book is this? What is this, a doomsday book? And so I was hanging out with my friend Dave Asprey at Alpha Base, and we were hanging out one night and just talking, and giving each other foot massages and laughing and being kids and stuff. And he goes, oh my God, I have an idea. I go, what? He's like, well, I'm the biohacker and you're the spirit hacker. That's it. And so that's why I named the book Spirit Hacking. And then he's like, oh, I'll write the foreword for you. Like we were like, being little kids, like figuring the whole thing out. Mm-hmm. But the main importance was I told my publisher, this has to come out before 2020 because this book needs to last for many years, because the blackout is not a 1-year cycle. It's a 12-year cycle.
When did it begin?
Oh, yes, it has begun.
When?
When did it begin?
Uh-huh.
The blackout, the official blackout began at the time of when we went through the eclipse that we had, right? When we just had the eclipse right before it was, I think it was like in 1999, we had the eclipse. And there was that time where it went black. Mm-hmm. And all those eclipses were happening. Do you remember that? There was like one eclipse after another eclipse after another eclipse. And then it was the end of the year and then Corona.
1999?
I wasn't born.
I was 1 year.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry, wait. Am I saying that right? Hold on.
2012?
What is,
no?
Wait, where are we right now? Yeah, sorry, 2019.
Okay.
1999. I got confused. Sorry. Sorry.
You just jumped to a different timeline. You just jumped.
Yeah, no. Sorry, you can take that out. You can edit that out. No. The point is, it was. Yeah, sorry. And when we went into the 2020, we had a whole year of all these eclipses that were taking place. That's when the stage of the blackout began. And that's when that's why we are going through what we're going through right now. And this is going to be a long journey. I don't know if people are like, oh yeah, it's going to be over. There's going to be like a vaccine. I was told by Spirit, there's 4 cycles, and every cycle is going to get worse and worse and worse and worse because the virus is going to mutate and it's going to become stronger. That means what? That means we need to have more immunity. We need to really build up our spiritual energies, because the more spiritual energies we build up, the stronger our bodies are from these types of things. And also learning how to be adaptable to everything that's going to happen so that we're ready to take charge and stop going into, because what people want the most right now is to return back to the way things were. That's not going to happen so quickly. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to learn what true adaptability means. Because if we don't learn as a species how to be adaptable, we won't survive on this planet.
Yeah, exactly. And in your book, you talk about, in order to be that adaptable, embracing the unknown, embracing the fear. I think this would be a perfect time to maybe go through a spirit hack that can help us tap into our spiritual power, be okay with how things are going, and then not be in fear all the time and build that immunity that you're talking about.
Yeah, so let's do one really, a simple one. This one is just removing fear. Pull up something that you're afraid of. Tell me when you both have it.
Yeah.
Okay, now say, download wisdom into my being.
Download wisdom into my being.
To dispel the
wisdom.
fear.
To dispel the fear.
At 20,000.
At 20,000.
And tell me when you feel the fear going away.
I feel my body getting like a bit lighter.
Mm-hmm.
I feel my body shaking a bit. Like the fear is there still.
Say, download wisdom into my being at 30,000 to dispel the fear.
Download wisdom into my body at 30,000 to dispel the fear.
And tell me what is happening.
I feel like trying to make space inside my body.
Good. So you might want to take the number up. Download wisdom into my being to dispel the fear at 40,000.
Download
wisdom into my
to
body
dispel the fear
at
40,000.
And tell me which number, which is, if it's still there, if it's gone, where is it at?
Feel very, very, very subtle now.
And what are you feeling?
I feel just like an energy rising, like as I said, like going up a bit, like getting lighter. I don't know. Feel.
Good. Now say
I feel
download
safe, like
wisdom.
grounded.
Right. So the thing is, you're going up in levels of frequency. So we're going download wisdom into my being to dispel the fear at 50,000.
Download wisdom into my body to dispel the fear at 50,000.
And then you can say 60,000.
60,000.
And see if you can still feel that fear, or if you've downloaded enough wisdom into your being to dispel it.
I feel the fear gone at the moment.
Yeah, great. So that's your number, 60,000 or 50,000. So 50 and 60,000, right? So you can start off as low as 10 and go all the way up in your hack to how much energy you want to bring in to release something. So like, let's give you an example of saying, what I want you to say is, put your hand down in front of you. Say, you are generating a high amount of energy in your hand right now. You
are generating a high amount of energy in your hand right now.
And then tell me when you feel it.
I feel it.
Good. Now say, you are now taking that energy and merging it into your spirit body.
You are now taking that energy and merging it into your spirit body.
And then tell me what you feel.
Feel like heat here, a rush of energy.
Very good. So now it's a part of you. So now you can use your powers. Take your hand down. Now say, relax my body.
Relax my body.
Do you feel that? Say, ground me
Yeah.
deep into the earth.
Ground me deep into the earth.
How does that feel?
It feels like home.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Say, release dopamine from my brain and accelerate my mitochondria and make me happy.
release dopamine from my brain and
Accelerate my
accelerate
mitochondria.
my mitochondria to make me happy.
What's
I
happening
feel like
now?
I just want to laugh.
Mhm. Now watch. Say, bring the ice and wind spirits to cool my body off.
Bring the ice and wind spirits to cool my body off.
How does that feel?
Nice. Feels cool, like chilly.
Yeah, and you see, you just because you connected to the invisible plane, connected to the energy, merged it into your body, it accelerated your powers.
So, okay, are these exercises you connecting with your higher self or with your higher self as well as all the other spirits that are around you? Like what's going on? Like
In
how is
shamanism, we don't have a separation between higher and lower. So you're saying your spirit is with you all, your higher self that you call your higher self is with you all the time, every time. Right? So when you want to optimize your brain, right? Watch this. Say, optimize my brain right now.
optimize my
Optimize my
brain right
brain right
now?
now.
And wait, did you pull the energy into your body?
Me?
Yeah. Did you do the exercise?
This one? No.
Yeah.
I was watching. I was observing.
Okay. So you got to do the exercise to merge your energy with the universal fields.
Okay.
Okay. So put your hand out and say, you are generating a high source of energy in your hand right now.
You are generating a high source of energy into your hand right now.
And then tell me what you feel.
My hand feels warmer.
Good. Say, you are connecting with that energy and bringing it into your body and merging with it.
You are connecting to that energy and bringing it into your body and merging with it.
Now tell me what you feel.
I felt like a shock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. You are accelerating the electricity from the spirit world and having it shock your body 5 times.
You are accelerating the electricity from the spirit world and having it shock your body 5 times. Feels warmer, my body.
Now say, ground me into the deep, deep earth magnetically.
Ground me into the deep, deep earth magnetically. I feel like heavier a bit.
Mm-hmm. Say, Release the doubt that wants to say, is this really happening, out of my mouth and throat through deep yawn or deep cough.
Can you repeat
Release
that?
the doubt
Release the doubt
that wants to say, to not believe that this is really happening,
that wants to believe that this is really happening,
that it's not really happening,
that it's not really happening.
out of my mouth and throat through deep yawn or deep cough.
Out of my mouth and throat through deep yawn and deep cough.
Make it stronger. Release the fear from me.
Make it stronger, release the fear from me.
Stronger. I'm not afraid of my powers.
Stronger, I'm not afraid of my powers.
I know I've been lied to by this world.
I know I've been lied to by this world.
This world not wanting me to know I have powers.
This world not knowing me, not letting me know I have powers.
Increase my powers now and vibrate my body with electricity from the outer realms.
Increase my powers now and
Vibrate me with electricity
vibrate me with electricity
from the outer realm.
from the outer realms.
Make it stronger. Any part of me that has fear, release it from me.
Make it stronger. Any part of me that has fear, release it. Yeah, I felt that.
Say, make it even stronger. I'm not afraid.
Make it even stronger. I'm not afraid.
I'm not afraid of myself.
I'm not afraid of myself.
Increase my powers.
Increase my powers.
Felt that?
Yeah.
You can lower your hand. You can lower your hand. Lower your hand. Like relax your hand. Go ahead, relax it. Good. Now say accelerate it and bring more poison out of my mouth that's blocking me from my powers.
Accelerate it and bring out the poison out of my mouth that is blocking it. Make it stronger.
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 Stronger. Clean him. Stronger. Clean him. Increase his powers.
Stronger.
And while you're cleaning him, clean her too. Yawn it out of her mouth repetitiously, spirits. Clean both of them deeper, stronger. Pull the poison out of her mouth. Pull the poison out of his mouth. Anything the Matrix has created to limit them from seeing their highest potential of power, pull it out of their mouth and throat now. Now shock their bodies at 10,000. Shock their body at 20,000. Shock their body at 30,000. Shock their body at 40,000. Shock their body at 50,000. Turn up the frequency. Turn it up higher. Turn it up higher than that. Turn it up even higher. 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 Turn it up higher. Turn it up higher. Now open up their powers even higher and cough it out of their mouth and throat or yawn it out of their system. Spirit, complete your task. Keep yawning and coughing it out of their system so their powers go higher. We need them ready for what's coming. Increase their powers even more. Stronger. Now, Spirit, if you accelerated their powers, cough out of their mouth 10 times if that's a yes. Body, if you've accelerated their powers, cough out of their mouth and throat if that's a yes 5 times, and then shake their bodies. Body, accelerates and shake their bodies even more. Bring water into their system. Release their muscles and shake them even more. Cough out anything that's limiting their body from getting deeper healing. Good. How does that feel?
Good. It's like water coming out of my eyes.
See all the poison coming out of your body?
I feel like little rushes of energy throughout my whole body. Waking up.
You said in the healing, spirits help them so that they're ready for what's to come. What did you mean by that?
Because there's more coming down the pipeline. This isn't the end of what we're going to be going through. We have cataclysmic changes that are coming. We have more virus coming. And we have more, we have a lot of things that are going to be happening in government systems, lies being uncovered, things that people are going to witness that's going to make people very uncomfortable. And so it's important to get your spiritual bodies, your mental body, your emotional body, and your physical body strong.
Yeah, I want to get a little quantum here because you've said in a couple of interviews and your videos that time as we see it is not linear, and that it's there are a lot of realities happening at once. And you say that what's to come, it's all of these like cataclysmic events. And I just wanted to know, like, from a quantum perspective, is that already happening already, or
So
is there a
everything,
different
every
reality to that?
oh sorry, every choice that ever has been made or could ever be made exists quantumly. So that means that reason why I say that is because I've looked at the quantum field and humanity is still wanting to fight each other. And so when if humanity had chosen during these times to be more loving and say, okay, we're going to choose love over fear, then these things wouldn't happen the way that they would. But as long as we continue to resist the change, then Mother Nature and all the energies and spirits will coalesce to come together to make so we will eventually choose to let go of our false securities and start learning how to love and appreciate the lives that we have and acknowledge one another and really understand nature and how powerful of a resource it is and so forth.
Yeah, and when you say we're quantum creators and what we speak, we create, I think that can, like, especially in the spiritual community, I see a lot of people saying, oh, that means that I can never have a bad thought, or I can never speak that I had a tough day or anything. And then you said earlier that, okay, I can say I had a bad day. However, I'm creating new realities for myself. And I think that's a really important topic to
Yes.
talk about, because people think that it's just love and light, and then they just don't jump into the darkness, and they're afraid of saying something bad because that will ruin their lives. So I would like to you to touch on that.
Yeah, the whole love and light thing, I'm not really into. I actually have a chapter in my book called Love and Light My Ass. And and the reason why is because people hide behind their spiritual behaviors. They'll say, "Oh, I'm a very spiritual person. I don't resonate with that." But if you don't resonate with it, then why are you talking about it? Right? It's like there's a common sense factor in spirituality, and then there's just the kind of like, I'm just going to act as if it's not happening, but it is. So a lot of times people will say to me, well, I already worked on that. Well, it's not about working on anything. It's about being able to alchemize it into higher intelligence. So when people talk about love and light and they're like, oh, I'm the light, I have to be the light, I'm the light. You're not the light if you can't stand in darkness and and shine the light in darkness. You're not the light if you can't stand in the face of adversity and still love even when someone is calling you a name. You see, the characteristics of the light is truth. It's the ability to hold the position of truth, which is love. And so if you can't hold love in difficult situations, then you're not love and light at all. That's just a security, some kind of fake security blanket that you've orchestrated, but it's not really doing anything. It's the same thing of saying, the let's be present in the now. How can you be present in the now when there's no such thing as a now? Energy is always moving. It can never stand still. The moment energy stands still, everything collapses. So energy has to keep moving. If the oceans went into a now state, like it just stopped, and was like, now is the time now, then we'd all die. If the moon stayed out and the sun never came, we'd all die. If the sun stayed out and the moon never came, we'd all die. So again, you can only create a now from your conscious perspective of, I'm going to create this to be the now moment. But if we were really to look at it from an energetic standpoint, energy is always moving, right? And so everything that goes in the past becomes your next experience. So when you say, I'm a beautiful person, instead of saying I'm a beautiful person, you would say you are a beautiful person, because the I am is only connecting to the part of your prefrontal lobe. It's not connecting to the core of your cells, your being, your organs, and everything. So you would never say I am this and I am that, because it's just a proclamation. You would say you are. So that way you're witnessing the creator as you're speaking directly to you. So you can go and you can do it right now. Say, I am beautiful.
I am beautiful.
Notice where that
I am
lands.
beautiful.
Say it again. I am beautiful.
I am
I am
beautiful.
beautiful.
Now say, you are beautiful.
You are beautiful.
You are beautiful.
What did you feel?
It's like a different, it's like someone's talking to you. Exactly. Like the
Exactly.
creator part.
I experienced it like when I said I am beautiful, I experienced it in my head, in my mind. And when I said you are beautiful, I felt like a loving energy in my heart. So it
Exactly.
was a different sensation for sure.
You're not programmed by I am, you're programmed by you are. Parents say to the kids, you are this and you are that. They don't say, I am this and I am that. The you are is the programmable code. So whenever you say you are, you're directly speaking to the source. You're speaking directly to God. And that allows you to have that relationship.
Yeah. Because in the spiritual community, we're always told affirmations start with the I am, and then in the Bible or Jesus was the I am is the word. Or why was it framed like that, and why are you giving us this new perspective?
Because in those times, to even recognize the self outside of the system, you did have to say I am. So you can see yourself outside of that system. We are now living in a different time. The I am is no longer the I am, it's the you are, because now we're not just recognizing ourselves, we're actually going into ourselves. So going into yourself is the you are, we are, they are.
I think that goes into the idea.
Collective of your quantum self.
I
Right?
think
So
that
like
has to
you
do.
think, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Sorry. No, I was gonna say that it has to do a lot with the idea of observance, because you said like the power of now, like you can't just focus on the now because of all the energy, like it's always moving. But what if like you just observe what's there instead of focusing in the now? I don't know if you that a little better.
Yeah, if you go into the place of observation, right? Like let's say this, let's do it right now. Say, drop me into observation
Drop me into observation
of the energy that's around me.
of the energy that's around me.
Do you sense that?
I feel.
Good. Say, drop me into observation
Drop me
into observation
of my consciousness expanding.
Of my
consciousness expanding.
How does that feel?
Feels as if I'm doing like this, but not moving. Like I just feel like something moving in peripheral direction, like this.
Yeah.
Say, drop me into observation.
Drop me into observation
of where I fight myself.
Of where I fight myself.
Do you feel that?
Yes.
Now say, drop me into observation.
Drop me into observation
of the fight ending and love connecting.
The fight ending in love connecting.
The fight ending and love connecting.
Very different energy, huh?
Yeah.
It was like that stubborn side that was sitting there fighting with you. And then you went in and then the love connected and the stubborn side's like, okay, well, I can be open to some of these ideas. Okay, let's start this journey together.
Yeah. I relate that a lot to our inner child, which is less skeptical and more open-minded. Like as we grow older, some of our curiosities are beaten out of us and we become much more rigid and fixed in our thinking. And one of the things I admire most about you is like your inner child is really present always. Yeah. I want to know like how you connect to that, and if there's a way that we can start releasing that inner child within us.
See, the thing is, you see it as a connection, right? So you're like, how do we connect to that? But the thing is, I am Durek. I am him. I'm just another aspect of his multidimensional expression. I like to play toys and action figures and build forts and do all kinds of fun things. I love to color and collect stickers. And I like to put costumes on and go into characters around the room with my girlfriend and all kinds of fun stuff. It's me. And even my voice that you hear right now is me. This is me as the little child talking to you. I'm always here. I can always bring Durek back so you can speak to him. Your inner child is there too. You just don't let it speak.
How do you recognize?
You already know. You like to play with things, to build things. You like to see the architecture of things. You know that. You know what your inner child likes. Why don't you go get some Legos and some things that you can build and put together and examine and look? That's what your child likes. Why aren't you doing that? You love colors. You love to create things and build things and create your own clothes and make your own stuff that you can wear and stuff. Where is your little girl? Your little girl's there. She wants to come out and play. Do you let her come out and play? Do you let him come out and play? And why don't you? When they're the ones who have access to you being free.
Yeah.
That's very powerful. And that also leads me to thinking about what happens when there's a part of that child that is hurting. How do you get in touch with that hurt? Is
That's
it
not the inner
there?
child. The inner child doesn't hurt. It doesn't get affected by any of those things. It just loves. The hurt child is the part of the self that has been created to be hurt so that it can hold back its power. It's an illusion. You think it's the hurt child because you think, oh, my inner child is hurt. In fact, it's just the part of you that's choosing the hurt so that you don't have to deal with something else.
Wow.
It's what I talk about in the spirit hacking book as the hurt collectors.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's really amazing how like you shifted into that character, that inner child, and I really felt how when you were speaking to me, like you were speaking directly to that child.
Of course. I mean, that is what the inner child does.
Yeah.
You can see everything because it's friends with your inner child. It's friends with both of your inner childs. The question is, will you let your child come out and play?
I love that.
I think many people are.
You build a snowman.
Doesn't have to be a snowman.
Doesn't have to be a snowman. Yes, exactly. Just come out and play. Be a kid. When's the last time you swang on a swings or did a cartwheel or just did art for the sake of doing it because it's fun? You know, where's that little kid?
Yeah.
That kid makes life worth living. You bring your kid into everything you do, you have the most fun in life.
Yeah, and I feel like as we get older, we start taking ourselves too seriously and just everything around us too seriously. And what you say, like, let your inner child come and play. It will make you realize that life is really simple if you let it. So I think that's a very important lesson that everyone should like acknowledge and take into heart and just start being more playful around in their lives and just enjoy life and be their child and
The
not take
key to
everything
the
so
happiest
seriously.
life. Sorry, my love.
No, continue. I was
I
finished.
don't want to cut you off, so I'm sorry. I keep
It's the
forgetting.
Zoom. It's the Zoom. It's
Yeah, it's the connection.
next time
So-
is in person.
Yes, definitely. I would love that. The key to a happy life is liberation, to liberate yourself from labels, from rules, from attachments, from these ideas that you think you are, to being flexible with life. It's like people are like, oh, I'm a vegan. Well, there might come a time on earth where you can't be a vegan and you're going to have to eat meat to survive. So what are you going to do then? You know, it's like we have to be able to be flexible and adaptable and realize that spirituality is a contradiction. It changes, it evolves based on how the planet is evolving and how community is evolving and how spirit is evolving.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes like I remember there was a time where I started getting into all this like spiritual subjects. So I started reading and just getting involved in all of that, and I felt a lot of contradiction in different things in myself and in what I read. And then I was like, okay, maybe it's okay to feel this contradiction because not everything is black or white, and I have my own truth, and other people have their own truth, and they have to honor that. And what you say, spirituality is a contradiction, and that's like the magic of it, like the spice of it, because you get to move with it as it goes with this life and with this reality, and you just have to be present with it
100%.
and
Yeah.
adapt yourself.
Yeah, and you can play with it. Like you can create your own rituals. You can create your own understanding of what it means for you as an individual to be in the dance of spirit. You know, one of the things in African spirituality is that we allow the masculine and feminine to dance through us freely. So sometimes a man has to be feminine. Sometimes a woman has to be masculine. We don't put these restraints onto things like I'm a man and this is what a man is and men don't cry and this is what this is what a woman is and this is how a woman's supposed to be. Like, because that limits spirit, because the dance of the masculine and feminine is the way spirit moves through you. And so what people block those energies and put rules and validations and this is how this is supposed to be. Like there's times where I'm super feminine and I'm super passive and nurturing and like, you know, and my girlfriend becomes the male energy. She's super that male energy. And then sometimes I'm super male and she's super female. And sometimes we're both females and we're chitter chattering together. And sometimes we're both men and we're like riding horses and jumping and, you know, and being like, you know, doing fencing together and be like, allez, you know, and it's like, you know, there shouldn't be these restraints that we create. It's okay for another man to cuddle another man without being labeled as gay or any kind of label. We should be able to hug and connect without there being some kind of rule that states, well, if you do this, it means this, instead of just being a free, liberated being. This is what life is supposed to, that's what true heaven on earth is, to be liberated from all attachments, all duality, all suggestions, ideas of self, complete liberation, which allows you to be in complete expansion.
Amazing. Shaman Durek, thank you so much for the time that you've spent with us. Daniela and I have a couple final wrap-up questions, very short burst, fire away. But before that, we wanted to know for our audience where they can learn more about you. What are you up to these days, and where can they connect with you?
So you can find me at shamandurek.com. You can go to the shaman school and take shamanic classes you would like digitally, or come to the healing temple, which is every weekend. I'm up to right now is I'm getting together with astrophysicists and scientists and people who are neuroscientists, and we're building a lab so that we can start testing, bringing shamanism and science together, so we can start bringing that into the modern world, as this is factual, blind tested evidence that shows that we have superpowers as individuals, and that and here's how we access them, and here's how we get to them, and here's what's going on with the brain waves. And we've done studies with the EKG, and we looked at epigenetics, and we're looking at all these understandings of how we can actually create an understanding of who we truly are, from our highest potentiality and our ability to be optimized as a human being on earth, so that we can continue to thrive. And, you know, right now there's a lot of people who are building technology in Mars, learning how we can get robots out there to stand what's happening in those types of climates and those environments, and eventually be able to bring people through astronaut programs to live on other planets. And in order to do that, we have to learn how to understand the sustainable qualities of a human being, what types of abilities we actually have. Can we self-generate ourselves? Can we regenerate ourselves? Do we have the ability to apply dynamic structure that we represent in the same way that a technology can? Can we move ourselves into not being affected by G-force and all these different things? So this is what I've been putting a lot of my energy into and spending my time doing, and and then of course TV and being there for the people, really.
Let's go. I feel inspired after hearing that. Yeah, every time I get on a call with one of these leaders like you, I'm like, Wow, I'm excited for what's to come. I'm 22 years old, but I know I have a long way, and the next years of humanity are going to be incredible. So,
Yeah.
with that said, the name of this podcast is the Energy Motto, and we're going to explain a bit about what that means. I wanted to know first, in your life, what is that one thing that ignites the flame within? Or, you know, that thing that gets you out of bed, that spark. In other words, we like to call that our energy, and we've defined it as the untapped sources of internal energy that all humans hold to unveil extraordinary physical, mental, emotional, spiritual capabilities.
The thing that gets me out of bed is serving people. I love to put the power back in people's hands. I love to show them what kind of powers they have. I love to show them how psychic they are and what kind of gifts they have, and so that they can utilize it to stand as my colleagues side by side to be able to, to change our global experience here on Earth. So that's what makes me jump out of bed, because I get excited, like, oh, another day to, to share and to talk and to love and to give. This is like my greatest thing. I can give and give and give. I think the lesson for me is learning how to balance out giving and then getting some rest, because I'm like a mad scientist. I'm up in the wee hours of the night, only sleeping like 2 hours, and like doing all these things so I can help people and support them and talk to different scientists and stay up and we geek out. I love the geek outs. And so that's, to me, that's like keeps me lit.
Okay, and to close in like the best note this episode, I just wanted to ask you, what are your final nuggets of wisdom to anyone that wants to unleash their inner power, their energy, and just connect to themselves and live an authentic life?
So I would say, it's important for you to know your dream and not be influenced by someone else's dream unless it's a cohesive connection with your dream. It's important for you to recognize that you should get excited about the things to come instead of waiting them to come and then getting excited, but get excited of those things, get turned on by them. Turn on is an amazing sensation that we think is only about being intimate or sexual with someone. Being turned on to success, being turned on to money, being turned on to creative ideas, being turned on to intelligence, being turned on to conversations. It creates magnetic energy. And the more magnetic energy you have, the more power you have. And so creating that turn on in everything that you do. If you're not turned on by it, don't do it. If you're not turned on by money, that's probably why money's not in your life. If you're not turned on by success, that's probably why you're not successful, because you're not feeling it from your spirit. It's not a turn on, right? So what I tell people, to develop their turn on towards things. If you're having a talk with a friend at a restaurant, if you're not turned on by their conversation, then why are you there? Right. And so again, we want to be lit. We want to live our lives as lit leaders of legacy. And a lit person is turned on. They're fired. They're up. They're like, yes. They're like, woo, and they're full of this power. They're not sitting back going, okay, yeah, maybe I would like to eat spaghetti. It's like, no, I want spaghetti. Yes. Oh my God. I just want to rub it all over my body. It's like,
That's amazing.
I want to feel turned on. Like, if I'm going to create money, I don't be like, yeah, it'd be nice to have money so I can do this and that, to like, no, money is so sexy, and money, I'm so turned on to money, and money's turned on to me. We have this amazing relationship. I love you, money. God, that's like, I'm so turned on by you. Like, I just think of you and I'm just like, oh, and then that creates those things. You see, and same thing, I want to be turned on by what comes out of people's mouths. I want to feel so inspired by what comes out of their mouth. I want to jump them and just hug them and just be like, oh, because that is how we are. We are beings of kinetic and powerful energies and sensations and feelings. Just like when you eat a chocolate cake, I don't want to just eat a chocolate cake. I want to feel the fork. I want to feel me going into the cake. I want to see me lifting the cake and feel it, be excited as it comes towards my mouth. I want to take a bite and feel it, the tongue to bring all the flavors, and then go in the back of my mouth and just like, oh, chocolate cake. You know, I want to feel my body light up, because the whole experience wasn't just me shoveling food in my mouth. I'm turned on with the sensation of eating chocolate cake. I'm turned on by taking a shower and feel the water in my body drip off of every area of my body. I'm turned on when I see people. I'm like, oh, look at this gorgeous man, this gorgeous woman, this beautiful woman, this beautiful man, this beautiful dog, this beautiful bird, this beautiful, oh my God, you're all so yummy.
Exactly. It's about living a life that excites you. It's like, then why are you making the choices that you're making if you're getting turned on by every little thing that you do?
Yeah, then you'll be living a very fulfilled life.
Mm.
You know, you'll know what is intrinsically right for you authentically, because you'll feel the turn on.
I really resonated with that, and I needed to hear that in this moment of my life. So thank you for that. All the love, Shaman Durek. Love you so much, brother.
Big kisses.
Love you from the heart.
Thank you so much for coming on. Till
Love
next
you
time.
both. Love you both.